Do you remember when you felt truly alive last? Not just okay, not just surviving, but genuinely engaged and present. For most people over 40, that feeling becomes increasingly rare. You worry about money, you worry about your health, you worry about whether your life choices were correct. But what if your worry is actually the barrier? What if the gateway to your best years is on the other side? What if midlife is not decline, but transformation? Subscribe now, because today you will discover the ancient practice that transforms anxiety into wisdom. Like this video if you have ever felt stuck between who you were and who you want to become. Comment below the one thing you worry about most. This helps me understand what matters to you. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Midlife Crisis That Is Not What You Think. Sarah was 53 years old. She had a successful career. She had a loving family. She had everything society told her would make her happy. Yet every morning she felt empty. Her mind raced with concerns. What if I fail now? What if I'm running out of time? What if I have already peaked? She felt like she was drowning on dry land. Then something unexpected happened. A neuroscientist named Daniel Siegel from UCLA studied the aging brain. His research changed everything about how we understand midlife. He discovered that the brain does not decline at 50. Instead, it undergoes a profound reorganization. Your emotional centers finally connect with your wisdom centers. Your prefrontal cortex becomes stronger. Your ability to see patterns increases dramatically. Your capacity for genuine understanding peaks. Yet most people do not know this. They see midlife as loss. They see it as the beginning of the end. But the research tells a different story. The Greek philosopher Aristotle believed that wisdom came only after suffering. He called this process phronesis. It was not knowledge, it was practical wisdom earned through time. He said the person who had not experienced failure could never truly understand life. Modern neuroscience has proven Aristotle was right. The middle-aged brain is actually optimized for wisdom. Your brain has pruned away unnecessary connections. Your amygdala becomes less reactive. You worry less about small things. You care more about meaningful connection. Yet this transformation frightens you. You resist it. You try to recapture the urgency of youth. You fill your days with busyness. You numb yourself with distractions. You never allow yourself to enter the state where wisdom actually emerges. Chapter 2. The Flow State You Have Forgotten. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi was a Hungarian psychologist. He spent 40 years studying human happiness. His conclusion shocked the world. He found that happiness does not come from achievement. It comes from a state called flow. Flow is when your skill level matches the challenge level. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. In flow, you lose track of time. You forget your worries. You forget yourself. You become one with the activity. He studied thousands of people. The most satisfied people were those who regularly experienced flow. Yet here is what Csikszentmihalyi discovered that changed everything. People over 50 experience more flow than younger people, but only if they know where to look. Most people in midlife have stopped looking. They have accepted worry as the default state. They have traded the search for meaning for the search for security. The ancient Japanese monks understood flow. They called it mushin. It means no mind. It is the state where the self dissolves, where action flows without thought, where wisdom emerges from deep stillness. The Zen masters spent decades teaching this. They understood that the middle years were sacred. This was when you finally had the perspective to enter mushin. You had enough experience to know what mattered. You had enough distance from childhood trauma. You could finally be present. But the modern world makes this nearly impossible. Your phone buzzes constantly. Your mind jumps between problems. You never have extended periods of uninterrupted focus. Without focus, you cannot enter flow. Without flow, you cannot access wisdom. This is why you feel stuck. This is why midlife feels like loss. Chapter 3. The Worry Cycle That Never Ends. Harvard Medical School conducted research on anxiety. Dr. Judson Brewer led a 5-year study. He tracked people over 40 who experienced chronic worry. he found something unexpected. Their brain patterns showed constant activation in the default mode network. This network fires when you are not focused on external tasks. It's the part that creates your inner narrative, the part that worries, the part that plans, the part that fears. For younger people, this network calms down during moments of rest. For worried people at midlife, it never stops. The brain essentially gets stuck. It becomes a loop. You worry about worrying. You feel anxious about your anxiety. Each thought creates the next. Each concern creates the next. The cycle feeds itself endlessly. This is not weakness. This is not laziness. This is a physical pattern in your brain that has become habitual. Brewer discovered something remarkable. The people who broke the worry cycle did one specific thing. They learned to observe their worry without judgment. They noticed the sensation. They noticed the pattern. They did not try to stop it. They did not fight it. They simply became aware of it. Once awareness increased, the pattern began to dissolve. This is what the ancient Stoics taught. Marcus Aurelius was Roman emperor. He faced constant pressure and crisis, yet his journals show he maintained peace. His secret was simple. He distinguished between what he could control and what he could not. He worried only about his own thoughts and actions. He released his grip on outcomes. The Stoics understood that worry was not caused by external events. It was caused by your interpretation of events. Change your interpretation, and worry loses its power. Chapter 4. The wisdom that only comes with time. Laura was 57. She had built a successful business over 30 years. Then the market crashed. She lost everything. A younger version of herself would have panicked. She would have seen it as catastrophic. But something had changed in her brain. She could see the pattern. This too shall pass. Every crisis she had faced before had resolved. Every tragedy she had experienced had taught her something. Every failure had led to something better. Her experience had given her what Buddhists call equanimity. This is the ability to remain calm in the face of change. It is the ability to see clearly without emotional distortion. It is the ability to act wisely when others panic. The Dalai Lama has studied meditation and wisdom for 70 years. He explains that wisdom is not acquired knowledge, it's cultivated perspective. When you understand the impermanent nature of all things, you stop clinging. When you stop clinging, you stop suffering. This understanding cannot come in youth. You must experience enough loss and change to truly accept them. By 50, you have experienced enough. Your brain is finally ready. Yet most people waste this precious period. They fight the aging process. They desperately try to stay young. They never settle into the profound peace that is available. Research from the University of Michigan shows that people over 60 with spiritual practice have significantly lower rates of anxiety and depression. They show better cognitive function. They show greater sense of purpose. Yet this benefit only appears when they stop fighting aging, when they accept midlife transition as a doorway rather than decline.
Chapter 5. The practice that reconnects you to flow. Marcus discovered the ancient practice called Stoic journaling. Each morning, he spent 15 minutes writing. He wrote down what worried him. He wrote down what he could control. He wrote down what he could not control. He wrote down what action he would take. This simple practice rewired his brain. After 2 weeks, his anxiety decreased. After 4 weeks, his focus improved. After 8 weeks, his colleagues noticed he seemed more present, more wise, more grounded. He had activated his prefrontal cortex. He had quieted his amygdala. He had entered a state of clearer thinking. The Stoics practiced what they called prosoche. This means mindful attention. It means noticing when your mind has drifted into worry, noticing when you have lost presence, and gently returning. Modern neuroscience calls this metacognition. It is the ability to observe your own thinking. When you develop metacognition, you gain freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of automatic thoughts. You can choose your response. Research from Harvard University shows that people who practice metacognition have 30% lower cortisol levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone. Lower cortisol means your body is in a state of restoration, not defense. Your immune system strengthens, your creativity increases, your sense of well-being improves. The Japanese practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, is another tool. Scientists at the University of Tokyo studied this practice. They found that 30 minutes in nature significantly reduced stress hormones. Nature inherently puts you in a state of soft fascination. Your brain relaxes, your default mode network calms. You enter a state closer to flow. The ancient Greeks called this ataraxia. It is tranquility achieved through acceptance, through release of unnecessary desires, through connection to what is essential. This state is available to you now, not in the future, not when you have achieved enough. Now, Chapter 6, The Identity Shift from Striving to Being. David had spent 30 years climbing the ladder. His identity was wrapped in achievement, in title, in external recognition. By 55, he had achieved everything he thought would make him happy, yet he felt emptier than ever. His therapist asked him a simple question: who would you be without your job? The question terrified him. He realized he had no answer. He had never asked it. He had filled every moment with striving. He had never filled any moment with simply being. The modern psychologist Erik Erikson studied human development. He identified 8 stages of life. He said that the task of midlife is to achieve what he called generativity. This does not mean having children. It means making a contribution, shifting from taking to giving, from proving yourself to knowing yourself, from accumulating to releasing. Yet this shift requires a death, the death of the identity built on striving. Research from Stanford University shows that people who make this identity shift experience profound relief. They report greater life satisfaction, better relationships, more authentic presence. The shift is terrifying because it requires letting go of a false self that has been developed for decades, but on the other side is peace. Chapter 7. The Wisdom that Transforms Others. By 60, David had completed his transformation. He no longer needed titles. He no longer needed recognition. He had discovered something deeper. He had discovered purpose beyond achievement. He started mentoring younger people. He found genuine fulfillment in their growth. He reconnected with his grandchildren. He rebuilt relationships that had suffered during his years of striving. His presence shifted. People felt seen when they were around him. They felt heard. They felt his genuine interest. This is the gift of midlife wisdom. When you release the need to be admired, you become genuinely admirable. When you release the need to prove yourself, you become truly confident. When you release the need to achieve, you finally achieve what matters. The Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh spent 50 years teaching one simple truth. He said that the greatest gift you can give others is your presence, not your advice, not your achievements, your presence, your attention, your genuine care. He observed that modern people have forgotten how to be present. We have become beings of endless doing, endless striving, endless worry. Yet the younger generation hungers for exactly what you have now. They hunger for presence, for genuine wisdom, for someone who has lived and learned and integrated that learning. You have something rare and precious, your accumulated experience, your hard-won perspective, your capacity for real presence. This is the currency of the new age. Chapter 8. The Daily Practice That Sustains You. Alina created a simple daily practice. She spent 20 minutes each morning in what she called her wisdom practice. She sat, she breathed, she observed her thoughts without judgment. She acknowledged what she could control, she released what she could not. She set one intention for her day, not multiple goals, one intention aligned with her values. She then spent the rest of her day in service to that intention. After 90 days, something shifted. She stopped worrying about the future. She stopped regretting the past. She lived primarily in the present moment. Her relationships deepened. Her health improved. Her creativity returned. Her sense of joy increased dramatically. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius maintained a daily practice. He recorded his thoughts. He reminded himself of core principles. He recommitted to his values each day.
He did not let social pressure distract him. He did not let fear drive his choices. He maintained equanimity through discipline, not the harsh discipline of forcing yourself, but the gentle returning again and again to what you know is true. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that people over 50 who maintain a consistent contemplative practice show measurable increases in gray matter. Their brains actually grow. They show improved memory, improved focus, improved emotional regulation. The practice literally rebuilds your brain in the direction of wisdom. Chapter 9. The Release That Brings Freedom. The ancient Taoist sage Zhuangzi taught about Wu Wei. This means effortless action. It means moving in harmony with life rather than against it. He taught that the more you force, the more you resist. The more you release, the more flows. This seems paradoxical in our achievement-driven culture, yet it is true. When Sarah finally stopped fighting her age, something magical happened. She stopped trying to prove she was still young. She accepted her face. She accepted her body. She accepted her mind with all its changes. In that acceptance came freedom. Freedom to move at her natural pace. Freedom to say no to things that did not serve her. Freedom to invest in what actually mattered. Her relationships transformed. Her health improved. Her sense of peace became unshakable. The gerontologist, Dr. Laura Carstensen from Stanford University, has studied successful aging. She found that the secret is something she calls socio-emotional selectivity. This means becoming more selective about how you spend your time and energy. You naturally let go of peripheral relationships. You invest more deeply in meaningful ones. You naturally release activities that do not align with your values. You invest in what brings genuine fulfillment. This is not decline. This is refinement. This is wisdom in action. Your brain is actually helping you make these choices. Your emotional centers now have better communication with your planning centers. You are becoming wiser whether you recognize it or not. The question is whether you will work with this natural process or against it. Chapter 10. The Transformation That Makes You Unshakable. By 90 days of consistent practice, the transformation was undeniable. Elena had become someone her friends barely recognized, but not in the way she feared. She had not become cold or detached. She had become radiant. She had become genuinely present. She had become the person younger people actually wanted to be around, not because of what she had achieved, but because of who she had become. She had released worry and embraced wisdom. She had released striving and embraced being. She had released proving and embraced knowing. The question she faced is the same question you face now. Are you ready for this transformation? This transformation requires nothing external. It requires nothing new. It requires only that you stop. Stop fighting your age. Stop fighting your body. Stop fighting your mind. Stop fighting this precious season of life. When you stop fighting, you discover the greatest gift of midlife. You discover that the best years are not behind you. They are right now. This moment, this breath, this awareness. This is where wisdom lives. This is where flow emerges. This is where you finally become unshakable. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote when he was in his 70s. He wrote that old age is not a curse. It is a privilege. Few make it here. Most die with their wisdom locked inside. You have made it here. You are still here. You still have time to share what you have learned. You still have time to mentor, to guide, to love, to be genuinely present. This is the final chapter of your story, and it has the potential to be the most meaningful. If you are ready to embrace this transformation, subscribe to the channel now. Activate notifications so you do not miss the wisdom teaching that will follow. Tell me in the comments what worry you are ready to release. What wisdom are you ready to embrace?